Yo, what is up YouTube? AJ003 here, and we are back with another video. Before we get started, if you could please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. That would really help me out. And without further ado, let's get straight into the topic today. So as we all know, the Bucks and the Suns have both made the NBA Finals from the Eastern and Western Conference. And I wanted to kind of obviously get into my predictions for that and who I think is going to win and some of the key points throughout the series that I wanted to touch on. And what we're going to start with is Giannis' health. That is obviously a huge factor in this series, as Giannis is the Bucks' best player and one of the best players in the entire world. His offensive and defensive production will be missed if he is out for an extended period of time. It is possible that he comes back for game one. It's not likely, but it is possible. But we're going to assume that he's out for game one and he comes back for game two. So just for the sake of that, we're going to assume that he's out for this first game. And speaking of Giannis, when he comes back, I think he will still be very good. I don't see DeAndre Ayton slowing him down too much, as long as they still run the same pick and rolls and coverages that allows Giannis to average 30 and 12 throughout this whole playoffs. And I think that they'll be absolutely fine as far as his production, because we know in the past he's had some trouble with the wall defense and all of that, but in this playoff run he's been performing spectacularly and it's kind of gone under the radar. So I just wanted to touch on that. I think Giannis will still be great. My main problem with the Bucks is the supporting cast, and specifically Jrue Holiday and Chris Middleton. Now I know in these last couple or few games they've been playing absolutely amazing. Shout out to them for pulling out the series against the Hawks without Giannis, but they have shown to be very inconsistent in this playoffs. And part of that reason, I think, is because Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday have both been second options in their primes, and now one of them on a night-to-night basis had to take that third option role, similar to the Paul George situation with Kawhi, where he wasn't getting enough touches on the ball and he was performing pretty poorly in the playoffs. But as soon as he got those touches without Kawhi in the lineup, then he started playing absolutely amazing for the most part. And again, with Giannis not being in the lineup, Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday have had some great games, and hopefully those will carry over, because they're obviously not going to be getting as many touches with Giannis. I mean, Jrue will still get a lot of touches running the pick and roll, and Chris Middleton will still have his ISOs, but it seems like that in the past has not led to Jrue or Chris Middleton being consistent enough. But hopefully those good games will help their mindset a little bit and carry over into the games with Giannis, because they're really going to need their production obviously from the other two star players if they're going to win this series. As far as the other Bucks role players, I'm not too worried about any of them performing, besides maybe Jeff Teague, but he doesn't play a consistent enough role in the Bucks success to really matter for me. Maybe Brook Lopez gets exposed with certain lineups that the Suns may run, and if Coach Bud doesn't make those adjustments. But other than that, I'm pretty solid on all of the role players for the Bucks. Now if we go over to the Suns side of things, you can really see their two main advantages, which is offensive consistency from their stars and the coaching advantage of Monty Williams against Mike Budenholzer. Now Chris Paul and Devin Booker for the most part have been great in the playoffs. There might be some slight problems with Devin Booker, because ever since he's gotten injured on his nose and had to wear the mask and that whole situation, he hasn't been the most efficient scorer in the world. But I hope that in due time he'll play great, and I'm assuming that he'll play great in this series, but it could be a factor here. And obviously we all know that Monty Williams is a better coach than Mike Budenholzer by a pretty wide margin. Mike Budenholzer hasn't really shown that he can go head to head against great coaches consistently, so that's definitely another advantage in the Suns' favor. As far as DeAndre Ayton, I think he'll have a fine series. I don't think he's going to be amazing or anything, but I think he'll still be a solid rim protector and pick and roll partner to Chris Paul that he's always been. And all of the role players I expect to play as their usual selves. Now there's a couple more things I want to address here, the first of which being the Bucks drop coverage. As we all know, when Brook Lopez is in the game, one of their main ways to play defense is the drop coverage on the pick and roll with Giannis as the help defender. And Chris Paul and Devin Booker absolutely shine in the mid-range, while DeAndre Ayton is a very good pick and roll partner for that to happen. So I do expect that to be exploited to an extent. Hopefully Coach Bud can make those adjustments as I was talking about earlier with Brook Lopez, but I do expect them to attack Brook Lopez and force him to step up, and that will give them a really huge advantage, whether it's Chris Paul and Devin Booker hitting mid-range shots or getting a free pass down to DeAndre Ayton for either a foul or a free dunk. The Bucks have definitely went to smaller lineups in the past, like Bobby Portis and Giannis at the power forward and center, and it has worked very well for them. So I expect them to go to that once again as soon as Brook Lopez starts getting attacked by that pick and roll. But I just wanted to point that out because it is still a factor in the series. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is the matchups. Now I do expect Jrue Holiday to be the primary defender for both Devin Booker and Chris Paul on any given night, depending on who the primary threat is. As far as who's on the other one, it might be Chris Middleton or it might be PJ Tucker. Either one would be pretty solid matchups as far as on the defensive end of the ball. On the other side of it, I expect Chris Paul to guard Drew Holiday. I expect Devin Booker to be hitting somewhere maybe on PJ Tucker or depending on who they start. And I expect someone like Jay Crowder to be guarding Chris Middleton just because of his size. Or he might potentially guard Giannis because he's shown to be very adept at guarding bigger players, and put someone like Mikal Bridges on Chris Middleton because of his length and lateral quickness. So as far as matchups on who's guarding who in the defensive matchups, I do think that is fairly even. I don't think DeAndre Ayton has a huge advantage over Brook Lopez. He might try to take advantage of someone like Bobby Portis in the post if they get that switch, but I'm assuming that in those smaller lineups, Giannis will be playing center, so it won't be a huge problem unless they fully commit to Giannis being the help defender and stick Bobby Portis on DeAndre Ayton. But either way, Bobby Portis is a solid defender, so I think he might be able to hold his own there. But I just wanted to mention these matchups because there's a lot of variables, but I think they're fairly good. Now, with all that being said, who do I think will win the NBA Finals? Well, my original pick was Bucks in 6 because I just thought they were the better team. But as I thought about it more, I have shifted my position, and I'm going to say Suns in 6. And the main reason for that, like I talked about before, is offensive consistency. Giannis, I know he will deliver, but Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton have been so inconsistent in this playoffs that when I'm talking about who's going to win the series as a prediction standpoint, I can't fully bet on them to come correct for 6 or 7 games straight because they haven't shown that they can do that, at least in this year's playoffs. And on the other side, you have guys like Chris Paul and Devin Booker. While yes, they've had some bad games, they showed that especially in the big moments, they have stepped up and been very consistent and great scorers and playmakers and doing what they do. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go Suns in 6. It can easily go either way, but I'm predicting that Chris Paul will get his first ring, Devin Booker will get his first ring, and the Suns will win the NBA Finals. As far as an extra tidbit, Finals MVP, I'm going to go with Chris Paul for this, just because I want to get Chris Paul the Finals MVP, but it could very easily be Devin Booker. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below who do you think will win in the Finals, how many games, and who is the Finals MVP. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Follow me on all my socials in the description, and I am out.